What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Daddy Fino Flash podcast featuring your homies. Obviously, it's me, Daddy Fino, Bay, and of course, my co-host, the one and only JT Flash. Say what's up to the people, JT.
What's up?
How are you doing, JT?
Well, it's draft day. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you are right, but you know why today is even more special than the NBA draft?
Why is that?
Bruh, I'm on vacation.
Yeah, there
It's
you
the
go.
start, it's the start of my vacation, and I feel like the NBA celebrated that by having the draft on the very first night. This was all because of me. So go ahead and give me a clap. I'll clap for myself because I know you're not going to do it. Oh, you did? Oh, shit. Okay. All right. There you go, JT. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Well, JT, we mentioned it. NBA draft is tonight. Well, was tonight. Where we just finished round one, but we still want to talk about it because the second round, although it is important, is not nearly as important as the very first round. So we're gonna give our opinions on it. We're gonna do our version of winners and losers of it, and even talk about surprises. But just before we talk about all that, let's talk about the pre-draft trades that happened today. Now, I don't know if you were aware, but today there was about maybe 3 or 4 pre-draft trades.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple. I don't on the top of my
Let me
head.
see. So we had in the Pacers. The Pacers traded small forward T.J. Warren and the number 32 pick of the NBA draft to Phoenix. Actually, I'm sorry. No, I said that wrong. Phoenix traded T.J. Warren and the number 32 pick to the Pacers. Now, this was a big move because it seems to have opened up some more, I guess, cap space for the Phoenix Suns. This also helped them with their roster, potentially opening up for a future rookie, I'm assuming. What
Yeah,
you think about that?
yeah, definitely opening up a roster spot for rookies. Um, yeah, it was a decent trade, right call. I really don't have a whole lot to say on it because I don't feel that's a super big trade. I mean, not compared to some of the other trades that went on, but I'll let you.
Well, let's continue on with those big trades. Now, we all know about the AD trade. The AD trade for Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, the number 4 pick, which was a huge deal in this draft, and then 3 future first round picks. Now, like I said, the number 4 pick, that was a huge pick in this draft, only because I think we're both in agreement that the top 3 picks were basically decided. Number 1 was going to go to Zion, which what the Pelicans did. Number 2, Memphis Grizzlies. They went with Ja Morant. I think we all agreed on that. And then number 3, the Knicks. Now, I'm not going to lie. I had a part of me thought the Knicks were going to fuck it up. I just a little
Knicks fashion. You're not wrong.
Yeah, like I thought for a second they were going to pick someone else. I don't know why, but then I thought about it. I was like, it's the Knicks. There's a chance they're not going RJ. But they did. They did go RJ. RJ Barrett is a New York Knicks. So now the number 4 pick. The number 4 pick, which originally belonged to the Lakers, got traded to the Pelicans. There was a lot of rumors that the Pelicans were going to make move with this pick, whether it was to one of the teams was Atlanta. There was rumors that they were going to trade it to Atlanta for 3 first-round picks. There was another rumor that maybe they trade this pick to the Wizards for, potentially getting Bradley Beal, which could have been a really good move. but they actually did trade it to Atlanta. Let's see, they traded it for the 8th pick. They traded it for the 17th pick, and then they were also able to get the number 35 pick, which was a second round pick in the draft, and a future first rounder. Um, Atlanta also, I mean, New Orleans was also able, they traded the number 4, but they were also able to get rid of Solomon Hill. And for those who are not aware of Solomon Hill, it's not the player they were really getting rid of. It was really his contract. He had a big contract for some odd reason. He was making like 12 to 14 million a year
for no reason.
Yeah, for no fucking reason. And they also gave up another second rounder. So it was really the 4th pick for the 8, 17, and a future first. If you just go into like the big picks, the big chunk of that deal. What do you think about that? And then also, what do you think about the pick that they selected?
Well, I do like the pick, and I know you and I went back and forth on this throughout the day, but I think the first 4 picks were a lock anyway. And I know I know you said earlier it depends on who got the number 4, but I think the number 4 pick, it was it was a lock for me. I think those were the top 4 players in the draft, and um, they
So
ended up
you have DeAndre. So
Hunter as
DeAndre
4.
was
Yep.
guaranteed a 4th. Why do you think that? What's so special about DeAndre Hunter that you thought guaranteed he was number 4?
Well, I know you and I follow college basketball, but I don't know if all the listeners do, or if they're just NBA followers. But DeAndre Hunter was actually a really, really great college basketball player, and I know that doesn't mean he's going to be great in the NBA, but I think he has a lot of upside on him on the things he needs to improve. I mean, the guy's 6'8", 227 pounds with a 7'2" wingspan. Arguably, last year he was the greatest defender in college basketball. He's not the best athlete, but he is a good athlete, and I just think what he brings to the table defensively. I hope what he brings to the table defensively in college will quickly translate to the NBA. But that's what I think. I think he could be an elite defender. A lot of people were comparing him, not comparing him to Kawhi Leonard, but if you took what Kawhi Leonard does on defense in the NBA and put it in college basketball, they were naming this kid. So I think that's why he's number 4.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you why I disagree with that. I don't think he was a lock at 4. I do believe he was definitely a top pick. Definitely, when I say top pick, I mean the top pick after the top 3. He was in the conversation for sure. One of the trades that I did mention was, for example, the Washington Wizards. If they had traded Bradley Beal to the Pelicans, I think the Wizards are going, first off, they're going to have to replace Bradley Beal. They're going to be without John Wall I'm pretty sure it's going to be for the whole year. So they're going to need to replace a guard. They're going to not have Beal anymore. They wouldn't have Wall. And I think that personally, I think they would have probably went after Darius Garland. I think Darius Garland was, if Wizards got him, I'm pretty sure, Darius Garland is a great guard, got great ball handling skills, can score the basketball. He's a smart basketball player. He can finish at the rim. I really love Darius Garland. And, there's even conversations. I mean, there was conversations that he could have even been the number 3 pick over RJ. Now, me personally, I wouldn't have made that. I would have picked RJ, and that's not because I'm a Duke fan. I just think RJ Barrett is just much bigger, and the fact that he did play at Duke just means that he's ready for that bigger stage. Now, I'm not saying DeAndre Hunter is not a great pick at 4. I agree with you. I see Kawhi Leonard in him. I mean, he was a great defensive player, like you said. I mean, there's nothing. He can guard the perimeter. He can guard even the post a little bit. He's what, 6'7", 6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8", I think. Was his...
6'8". I know he had a 7'2" wingspan. He's about maybe what, 230. 230, 240 in weight. I mean, the man could definitely play some defense. That's not even a question. He played at Virginia. They won the national title, and he was a big part of that. Either way, I think whether they went Garland or if they went DeAndre Hunter, I don't think you lose. Now, we're speaking, of ifs, but we know that Atlanta got the pick, and they already have players. They got Trae Young. They needed a 3 because they got the big man already. They have great big men. They got Trae Young. They needed a 3. That was something they missed. I think that was a great pickup for the Atlanta Hawks. I could see the Hawks making definitely a good, at least for my NBA rankings, I could see them moving up a little bit. It's not going to be too much, but I could see them definitely. They definitely improved with this pick. I really loved Atlanta's pick of DeAndre Hunter.
Well, and I want to stop right there. We talk about he's a great defender, but let's not forget. I mean, I don't want people at home to think they're watching somebody that's just going to come out of college and be a lockdown defender. There's going to be a learning curve. Of course, this is where college is one thing. This is another level. So I'm really, really interested to see how they use this kid in Atlanta, because like you said, I think him in combination with some of the other players they have on their roster, it will be interesting to see where they line him up, because technically he's a power forward, so he's a 4.
I didn't even think about. He is. I guess technically he is a power forward. I hope they don't use. See, I hope they don't use him as power forward. They should use him at the small forward. I think small forwards in the NBA, besides Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant's like a 7-footer. So besides him, most small forwards usually range from about 6'6" to about 6'9". So hopefully they use him at the small forward. You got Trae Young at point guard. You got John Collins at power forward. They'll still have Alex Len. He'll probably be the center because Dwayne Dedman, their true starting center, he's going to be a free agent. I don't know if they're going to go after him, but to bring him back. But, they got some pieces. Trae Young, like I said, they got Kevin Werther, great three-point shooter, had a great rookie season. I mean, they needed that 3 that can play, that not only can score, like you say, because he can score, but they needed that defender definitely after trading Taurean Prince. Taurean Prince is now with the Nets. So I agree. I definitely agree with that. I hope they use them right. They got a nice core. They definitely got a nice core, and I think that was that seemed to be like what's the word? Not the motto for the draft, but like the what's the word? Basically, it seemed like tonight's draft seemed to be where every team drafted their needs. It wasn't. No one really reached for anything. I mean, at least in my opinion, I'm not sure what you think about it. I feel like everyone drafted exactly what they needed.
Well, and I'm not in a disagreement, but while we're on the subject of the number 4 pick in DeAndre Hunter, my question is, why didn't the Pelicans take him? I thought he would have been a decent fit on the Pelicans team, for sure. I don't know. I mean, why didn't they? Why did they trade this pick away for? They lost a what I think is a great future talent in the NBA.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. Now, if you look at what the picks they did, so we both know they got the 8th pick, right? And then they got the 17th pick. Now, let's look at who they got. At the 8th pick, they got Jackson Hayes. Jackson Hayes is one of the most athletic players in this draft. You're teaming him up with Zion Williamson. They're going to have one of the most athletic, uber athletic tandem in their front court with Zion and Jackson Hayes. I mean, that right there is pretty damn great. Then at 17, they got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is one of the most all-around point guards in the league, or guards. I don't know if he's a point guard.
I think he's a 2 guard.
He's probably a 2. I think in Virginia Tech, I think he was like a point guard, but in NBA, he's probably going to be a shooting guard for them because they got Lonzo. But he's more of an all-around player. He doesn't master anything specifically, but he's just really good at everything. And I think that combination, plus you got Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's going to play the 3 for them. So you got Lonzo, you got Drew Holiday, if they keep Drew Holiday. But you got Lonzo, Drew Holiday, you have Brandon Ingram at the 3, Zion, and Jackson Hayes. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a pretty good starting lineup, for your future. Now, I did say if they keep Drew Holiday, they can trade Drew Holiday later on, maybe at the trade deadline or something, maybe get some more picks for the future. But you have a nice core right there.
While we're on that subject, I do not believe Drew Holiday will be there for a long term.
Yeah, me either. I mean, okay. Drew Holiday is what, 29?
Yeah, he's old. He's older. He's not really. Atlanta pretty much, or I'm sorry, not Atlanta. New Orleans pretty much made it clear that they're going with the youth, with the last moves that they've made. And Drew Holiday is a good player, but I just don't see him fitting in with those guys.
Yeah, I don't think – I'm pretty sure that he's going to be moving. They'll probably move him by the trade deadline. I don't think they'll do it to start the season, only because you want Drew Holiday there to be like the veteran leadership. They don't really have that veteran on that team if he's not there. Definitely with like Julius Randle, for example. Julius Randle, he opted out of his contract with them. So he's going to be a free agent. So they don't even have, a big man veteran on the team. Their big veteran, if you want to say he's a veteran, he's only been in the league like 3 years, is Jahlil Okafor. I don't know if Jahlil Okafor is going to be like the perfect person. And I love Jahlil Okafor. He delivered Duke a championship. I'll love him forever, and he had great games last year when he started, when AD originally got hurt. And I think Randall was hurt too. Jahlil Okafor took over.
You're saying he's not a leader. He's not a leader.
Yeah, he's not that veteran guy that can teach Zion and can teach. He can't teach something that he doesn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're gonna probably keep Drew Holiday at least to the. I can see him getting traded at the deadline. Trade him to a team that's gonna try to make a push for the playoffs. And definitely with the NBA being wide open right now, I think that, that would be a perfect scenario for the Pelicans. And they got future picks for it. They got a future – what would I say? They got a future second round. I mean, yeah, it's a second-round pick, but how many good players we've gotten in the second round, It's possible. I thought it was a good trade for both teams. Definitely for both teams.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out.
Like I said, they got rid of Solomon Hill's contract, which is a plus.
They need to do that for since he signed it. So
Yeah. But let's move on. So we talked about number 4. 5 was Cleveland. They got Darius Garland. Thought that was a good pickup. They need that. They can have a nice, solid backcourt. With him. Shoot, my mind just went blank. With him and their other point guard they drafted last year, he had a pretty decent rookie season. But, nothing special. But they got a nice little core right there. Definitely with Jim Beeline. How do you say his name? Beeline? Boyline?
I think it's Boyline.
Boyline.
Yeah.
But, he's coming over from Michigan. I think I like what they did right there. I like Darius Garland. I mentioned that before. I think they did good. Now, number 6, we had another trade. The number 6 pick, the Phoenix Suns traded the 6th pick to the Minnesota Timberwolves. With the pick, they also traded Dario Saric. Now, so basically, the Timberwolves got the number 6 pick, and with that pick, they picked up Jarrett Culver, the shooting guard from Texas Tech. Led his team to the national championship game. They lost in overtime to Virginia. You got any thoughts about that?
I think he's a really, really good 2 guard, at least in college. He's really good off the pick and roll, pulling up for a jump shot. So, that might take some getting used to in the NBA for speed wise, but I think he can get to where he can knock it down. Where I am concerned is he is not the greatest ball handler. His ball handling skills is what concerns me. But he did play well his last year at college and in the NCAA tournament. Not the greatest night in the national championship game. But I think it was a good overall pick. I think a lot of the things that I'm concerned about he can work on and make it part of his craft. So.
I like Jarrett Culver too. Jarrett Culver was a pick that now when I did my mock draft, I actually had it flipped. I had Cleveland going Jarrett Culver. But either way, Timberwolves grabbing him, I think it was perfect. They already have Jeff Teague at point guard. You're teaming him up with Jarrett Culver. That you'll have a nice little backcourt right there. Both players who can score the basketball. You're gonna team that up with the front court with Karl Anthony Towns. They got him. I also like this core. I feel like a lot of the teams, I'm gonna like this core, because I really believe that each team did really well in this draft. It's gonna be hard to pick a loser in this draft for me, but so far, I really like that core too. If Towns steps up his game, if T can stay healthy and stay on the court, and if Jarrett Culver can just continue his progress so far, I think they can be a team, maybe down the line. I don't think next year they'll make the playoffs or anything like that unless Jarrett Culver is like, Michael Jordan reincarnated or something. But, they can make a nice little push. I like that pickup for them.
You think while we're on that, you think that they're going to trade Wiggins?
I don't see them trading Wiggins only because I don't see a team trading for him. Like, me personally, I wouldn't.
Maple Jordan like that?
Huh?
You just going to do Maple Jordan like that? Just brush him under the rug?
I mean, why would you want Wiggins on your team? I mean, I feel like he doesn't do anything. Yeah, he scores. He averages what? He averaged about 18 points last year. Nothing. That's not bad. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not going to be. He's not a difference maker on a team, in my opinion. He's not He's not changing the life of anybody.
See, the thing is, I think he landed somewhere. I think he needs a fresh start. I don't think he's going to be an all-star, but I think he can improve his game and be considered a better player somewhere else. But that's neither here or there. I know that there were rumors that they were going to trade him today. I didn't know if you had heard anything about it.
No, I did hear rumors. Now I didn't hear specifically what teams were interested. I know that they did try to trade him, but no one's gonna trade anything for Andrew Wiggins. I'm sorry. Andrew Wiggins, like I say, he's not a difference maker. He's not gonna change the team's, path to a championship. Like getting Andrew Wiggins is not gonna be like, oh, let's say the Lakers got Andrew Wiggins. Or no, not Lakers. That's a bad example. Let's say Portland, for example, got Andrew Wiggins. Is that going to push them to be a top seed in the West, like a guaranteed contender for a championship? No. I'm just going to be like, oh well. I mean, they got a piece.
You can't say that because they were already in talks when the season ended for next year, being in contention for it.
I don't think so. I don't think Portland. And I'm gonna get into more detail about Portland later. Definitely after the pick they made. I think that Portland. I'll just say this: Portland. They're
Portland's a flawed team. I'll say that they're a
yeah.
flawed team.
To me, they're a great regular season team, but they don't do anything really in the playoffs. I know they made the conference finals this year, and I get that. They beat, they beat.
Did they really make it to the conference finals?
Yeah, it's like it was one of those like okay, they beat teams that weren't. They beat OKC. That's not really like a great thing because OKC is flawed. They're completely flawed. Okay, they beat a young Denver team, and I understand they were without Nurkic, so they're not to their potential. You know, maybe they wouldn't have got swept by the Warriors if they had Nurkic, if Nurkic didn't suffer that, dramatic injury. But at the same time, I think that even if they had Nurkic, they were losing to the Warriors in at least five. I would say five.
They would have done a little bit more. All they did was, they didn't cut. It's like they just came to watch the Warriors play.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if anything, with Nurkic, they got one game. If you add Wiggins to that team and they played the Warriors, I still only give them one game. So it's not like Wiggins is like this big deal. But that's just me. I mean, that's just me.
I'm not bringing Wiggins up because he played for KU, and KU didn't have any players drafted in the first round. We're not going to talk about that. I'm just saying.
Did they have any players drafted this year?
They not in the first round. I probably not in the second either. They didn't have a very good team this year.
They were trashed this year. It was terrible.
But I just heard that rumor, so I thought I'd bring that up while we were.
I mean, it's all right, but like I said, he's not a difference maker. But whatever. Let's move on to some actual difference makers. So that was number 6. Number 7 at the 7th pick, Chicago picked Kobe White. Now I thought that this was actually a great pick, and I know this. It really hurts me to say that a UNC player, whatever, is gonna,
I will agree on that.
And yeah, I'm shocked too. We agree. That's perfect. But I think Kobe White's going to be good for them. They needed a point guard. The team was Zach LaVine. They already got the big men. They got, Wendell Carter. They got Laurie Marketing. They got Otto Porter at the 3. Kevin Dunn didn't reach that level they thought that he would be at. So he'll probably fall back either to the backup point guard, or maybe they'll trade him. I like this pick, Kobe White. He's a very fast point guard, fast with the ball. People have said that they haven't had a fast player like him since Ty Lawson. and Ty Lawson delivered them a championship. So I like that pick. You got any thoughts on this one?
I agree with everything you just said, and it's a sad day in college basketball when a Duke fan and a KU fan come together to hate a North Carolina player.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Fuck Carolina, right? Sorry to all the Carolina fans listening, but I'm sorry. Um, it hurt me and pained me to even give a
I
compliment to a
I
player.
I
But
gave you a cop out answer because I didn't want to compliment.
yeah, I know. But I mean, we can't be totally biased. We got to give some compliments to
We're
Carolina.
not ESPN. I could be as biased as I want.
You're
Mister
right.
Mister
This
Mark
is your
Sanchez
show
every
too.
episode. Get at it.
This is your show, yeah. So yeah. All right, well, let's move on. I'm tired of talking about Carolina. All right, they get enough airtime. All right. So the number 8 pick, we mentioned this before. The number 8 pick belonged to Atlanta, but then they traded it to the Pelicans, and they got Jackson Hayes. I mentioned before this is going to be one of the most athletic front courts in the NBA. Jackson Hayes from Texas teaming up with Zion. I mean, and you already got Lonzo on this team. Lonzo's going to just be throwing alleys all day. This is going to be the new Lob City. You got any quick thoughts on this?
Yeah, are you only high up on the Pelicans because they're taking Zion? If Zion wasn't on this team, would you say it was the next Lob City with this pick still?
Well, okay. Well, I think you can say yes. I think you can because um, Jackson Hayes, I mean, and I'm just going off what Jay Billis said. Now, oh, well, I guess that was the wrong person to bring up. He went to Duke also. Um, but at the same time, he was the one that mentioned it. You know, Jackson Hayes, if you watched his game, and I watched some of his games, I've also watched highlights um, prior to the draft because I like to do some history on some players. The man is super athletic. It's not even funny. You know, he's 6'10", 218, can jump out the sky. I mean, it's really it seems like unnatural how athletic this man is.
Well,
I
I'll,
mean,
I'll give you this. For as lanky and tall as he is, um, he's pretty coordinated, and you don't see that. I mean, it's a rarity that you see that. I mean, Kevin Durant's tall, so I'm not trying to say there aren't any other people in the NBA, but it's rare that you see guys of this height and length as coordinated as he is. I just know from watching a few games this year, he gets in foul trouble a lot. His defensive technique needs to be worked on.
that's true. That is true. But he gets a ton of block shots.
Yep, second best shot blocker in basketball last year, I think.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he's going to be one of those players. He's going to have to learn just he's gonna have to learn to be smarter on the defensive end. But he's gonna be also one of those players that even because he doesn't know, he's still gonna make those plays that's like, oh man, thank God he was there. Like he's gonna make those unbelievable blocks that you could say, oh, that was a stupid jump. Like he probably shouldn't have jumped, but he's so athletic that he's still gonna block the shot. And he's gonna make highlights because of his block shots. That's for sure.
I don't want to do this because it's gonna stir a lot of people up, but I'm not gonna say I see him on the same level as AD, but I see a lot of AD like qualities in this kid.
Well, I wouldn't say all that.
well, in terms
Oh,
of the block
yeah, explain
shots
that. Please
under the
explain that.
rim, offensively, no. But in terms of his blocking, his shot blocking, and things like that, at protecting the rim, when he's not fouling, I would say he is very. He looks like a young AD to me. At least he did in college. We'll have to see what translates to the NBA.
Oh, so you're strictly just talking about the defensive
Yeah,
side.
not
Okay.
offensively. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You were scaring me. I'm not gonna lie. You were kind of scaring me. I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
No.
Yeah.
His rim protection and shot blocking is mainly what I was talking about. But when he's
Got
not in foul trouble.
right. I got you. That's understandable. I can understand that. So, all right, let's move on. Number 9, the Washington Wizards. They got my favorite player, like as far as his name. Okay, Rui Hachimura, or like I call him, Rui Nakamura, after Shinsuke Nakamura in the WWE. I love Shinsuke Nakamura. But this Rui Hachimura, he's the first Japanese-born player to be drafted in the first round of the NBA. He's out of Gonzaga, had a great year. You know, this man he's a humble player, great in the post. He's tough. You know, he has some skill with it. You know, he's nice and smooth. You know, you, what you think about this pick? I thought it was a great pick.
This is where we're going to disagree. I think he's a decent player and he has a lot to build on. You know, the big knock on him coming into the draft then was reported. I didn't see a lot of this kid's games, but he turned the ball over a lot. I'm pretty sure they said he finished with more turnovers than assists, which is not a good thing.
I
Uh,
mean, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
His positives are his defense. So we'll have to see what he does in the NBA. But he has a good, he gets to the line a lot offensively, to the free throw line. So that's good. That's good for him, at least in college. But yeah, that knock on turning the ball over, he's got to work on that for sure.
No, I mean, you're right about that, but at the same time, though, I mean, you got to admit, Gonzaga. Although every year I laugh at Gonzaga because Gonzaga is a team that, you know, they're not from a major conference, but at the same
Always
time
top seeded.
they're always top seeded though, and they're always. I mean, they did beat Duke. Now I gotta give them credit. They did beat Duke in the it wasn't the preseason tournament, but it was like the tournament that I forgot. Was it the Maui that they beat us in?
I don't know. You're the Duke guy.
I want to say it was the Maui. I don't remember our losses.
I
but
do. I
obviously,
remember some almost losses you should have had, but go ahead.
whatever. Anyway, they beat us in the Maui. He was a big part of that. Him and Brandon Clark, they formed this great, you know, just big defensive front court that even Zion had trouble with. I mean, Zion balled out, but it still wasn't like, it wasn't like the normal Zion. But this was before Zion really learned how to, play in college. I think it was like the third game Duke played this year. But Gonzaga is a tough team, and he was a big reason part of that. I mean, he has really good size. He's like 6'8", about 230, 240, something around there. He has like a 7'2" wingspan, good athlete. I mean, the man, the man can play. I like his skill around the basket. He's nice and versatile. I think that he's probably going to need. I don't see him being like an all-star player, and it sucks that in the top 10, you want to draft a player with potential to be an all-star. But at the same time, if you're just drafting a player that he can be a good leader, a good worker, he has potential to be a good starter in this league, I think that's a good pick. And for the Wizards, honestly, they need everything they can get.
Yeah.
So
I just, in my opinion, the guy they should have got was who was picked next. But we'll move on. That's
well,
my take.
let's just jump to number 10. Number 10, Atlanta. They didn't trade this pick in the rumor. The rumor they were going to trade this pick to New Orleans in that for the fourth pick, but they actually got to keep it. So they got Cam Reddish, another Duke player. This was the third Duke player traded into the top 10. This is the second time in NBA draft history that this happened. That three players from the same college got drafted in the top 10.
We get it.
The first one was Florida with Noah, Horford, and what was the third guy? Crap. I got his face in my head, but it doesn't matter. Florida was the other team. But anyway, Duke basically dominated this draft. So yeah, you said Cam Reddish should have got drafted to the Wizards, right?
Yeah.
Tell me why. What do you like about Cam Reddish? Let me see if you studied my Duke players like you should have. Go ahead.
I like his jump shot off the dribble. That's one thing I really like about Cam Reddish. And as far as him being a small forward or being drafted as small forward, I think he can play the two. He has versatility in what he can bring to where he lines up. He makes a lot of threes. I don't know, what he brings when he comes to the NBA in terms of getting to the basket. I don't think, I don't know what word I want to use. I want to use athletic ability. He has trouble getting by defenders and finishing. But I like his shooting. His defense needs to get just a little bit better. But I like his shot and his versatility, where he can line up in the game offensively.
And I gotta say, I agree with some of your points. So, for example, he is a great shooter. I think he's one of the best shooters in this draft. I also believe that his defense. You say that he needs to get better. I do agree with that, but I think he's actually a pretty good defender. It's kind of underrated, but not as a one-on-one defender. So he's not like a Kawhi Leonard where JT, if you're going off, I can put Cam Reddish on you and stop you. He's more of that secondary defender where he's going to get a lot of tip passes.
A help defender.
He's got long arms, stuff. What you say?
He's a help defender.
He's a help defender. He's pretty good. Now, he does have some, on-ball defensive capabilities, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that he's no lockdown defender. Now, my only problem with Cam Reddish, and I love Cam Reddish, but at the same time, one of his problem is he doesn't know, or at least it feels like he doesn't know when to be like aggressive. It felt like he acted like he was the third player on the team, where I feel like he should have stepped up and tried to be that number one, even though, yes, you have Zion, yes, you have RJ, but you need to prove to everyone that you're on that level, and I felt like he shied away from it. If he had been more aggressive and just shown more assertiveness on the offensive side of the ball, I think it was pretty much a guarantee we'd win the championship. But because it seemed like he took that step back where he was like, I'm just going to let them ball out and I'll just be that third guy. We couldn't take that next level. Did do you kind of agree with me on that point, or do you see something different about that?
Well, he in college anyway. And when I say this, I'm not necessarily saying it translates to NBA, but he could score in bunches quickly. And if for somebody, I agree that he didn't have a let's call it an assassin mentality. And if he had that, I think he would have been picked higher. That's just my opinion.
Well, you got to remember too that Duke was I said Duke. Duke was projected to get the top 3 picks in this draft. The only reason we didn't get the top 3 is because, like I was saying, at least what I believe is that it seemed like he took a step back. But, prior to the season, there was plenty of rumors that the number 1, 2, and 3 pick was going to be Zion, then RJ, and then Reddish.
Yeah,
which obviously would have been a first time ever.
I don't know if Cam should have been the top 3 pick, but he was picked at 10, and I had him going in the top 7.
Well, no, what I mean, I'm talking about prior to the college season. Yeah,
yeah, I understand what you're saying. And that I could have seen that. That was a year ago now. I could have seen that.
Yeah, because you got to remember too, coming out of high school, he was the 5th. He was in the top 5 prospects.
Recruiting. Yep.
Yeah, so because Zion was what was RJ was 1. He was actually the number 1 prospect, and then Zion overtook him. So then RJ moved to number 2, and then I think Reddish was number 4, because I think Nasir Little was a top 5 recruit too, and there was someone else. I forgot who the other name was, but
I can't remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember who the other person was, but I know Duke had 3 of the top 5. But either way, I do agree with you. Oh wow! So I have the second round on right now.
Yeah.
Just a quick update: Bobo just got drafted by the Miami Heat.
Okay, it's out of Stanford.
Bobo to the Miami Heat. Wow, that's crazy. Whew. He waited a long time. And I got a lot to say about Bobo, but we get into that in a little bit. I don't want to. Let's just continue this. I'm gonna get into that because I got something to say about that man right there. I definitely got something to say about him. All right, we're on number 10. Let's get to number 11. Now, I think this was a surprise pick by a lot of people. The Timberwolves. Well, actually, this got traded to Phoenix, so this is Phoenix making the pick. They drafted Cam Johnson from Carolina. This was a surprise by a lot of people. A lot of people had him going late in the teens. So late teens, early 20s. So for him to get drafted a little high, some people thought this was a reach. Cam Johnson, he seems to pretty much be, you can argue, but he was probably the best shooter in the draft. I gotta say that I'm actually not shocked by this pick. It's a good pick. I thought they would go somewhere else, but at the same time, when I think about it, it's actually a really good pick. You got any thoughts about Cam Johnson being this high?
Well, I think if anybody's been paying attention, they know he was the best shooter in the draft. I don't know what he brings to the table outside of that. Really, I don't really have a lot to say. He's nothing special on defense. He doesn't strike me as a mentally tough or physically tough player. We'll have to see what he does when it's not his night in the NBA. When the ball's not going in, we'll have to see how he handles it.
I could see that too. I think Cam Johnson, he's going to be a nice piece to spread the floor. Definitely to give space. You already got Devin Booker. You know, you got DeAndre Ayton at center, so you're gonna need some space for Ayton to eat in the post. Yeah, I think it gives them just another shooter, another piece that can just drop buckets. Let's move on. Number 12. I'm gonna say this: Charlotte shocked me in this draft. If I had any surprises, this was the biggest surprise for me. Michael Jordan did not pick a Carolina player. I thought when I saw this, I saw Nasir Little still there. I was like, and in my pre-draft mock, I had him picking Nasir Little, and I was like, oh well, this is obvious. This I actually walked out of my room to go do something because I already knew who the pick was gonna be. And then I come back and I find out it wasn't Nasir Little. I was like, what the fuck? Like I was shocked as hell. They picked PJ Washington from Kentucky over Nasir Little. I was shocked. I, I mean, oh man, that's it felt like a first that Jordan doesn't pick a Carolina player that was set up perfectly for him. I mean, and definitely with the possibility of Charlotte losing Kemba Walker, I feel like you needed someone who can, with potential to be a top player in this league. And Nasir Little, he seems to be, he had top 10 talent.
Uh, I don't know about
I
top
mean,
ten.
he seemed to have it. I'm not saying he does, but he was a top. He was the MVP of the All American game in college, or in high school, going into college. I mean, a lot of people say that he was used incorrectly in Carolina, which doesn't surprise me. But go ahead, I'll let you.
I don't want to get down on it on the pick because I can see some upside to this guy, but this is one of those picks where I don't have a whole lot to say, and it's kind of what I'll have to see out of him in terms of production. So
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't. I was shocked about PJ Wash. I mean, first off, this is what really like confuses me. So I'm on NBADraft.com, right? The NBA website.
uh-huh.
They have him as a power forward. Do you know what his height is?
I think he's like 6'7", 6'8", something.
Bro, he's a power forward listed at 6'6".
Huh.
Now, I mean,
That's not big.
I don't know what Draymond's height is, but I think Draymond's taller than 6'6", right? Draymond's about 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
So he would be like the shortest power forward of like all time, I feel like. I don't know. It was just weird. I'm not sure about this pick, but it's Charlotte, so
When I
yeah.
heard that they selected him, my response was just, yeah.
Yeah, I think we both have a consensus of who was a loser in this draft, but whatever. We'll just move on. Let's just go on. Number 13, Miami goes with Tyler Hero, also from Kentucky. You got any thoughts on that one?
They took a 2 guard to replace the third best 2 guard to ever play the game. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying this guy's even close to Mr. Dwayne Wade, the Flash. I think he's a good shooter, but I question his other offensive skills against NBA talent.
I'll just say this: Tyler Hero will not be the hero for the Miami.
That's a good way to put it. Right.
Yeah, moving on. Boston, they draft Romeo Langford. Now, this pick actually got traded. Let's see if I remember right. This got traded for. Wait. Oh, wait. actually no. Did they draft him? Oh,
I don't think this was a trade, and if it was a trade, it was happened way before the draft. So
okay, no, never mind. No, I'm lying. Okay, yeah, you're right. It wasn't traded. Okay. So yeah, Boston gets Romeo Langford. I actually oh
I don't
yeah,
hate
yeah,
the
yeah.
pick. I don't hate the
Yeah,
pick.
I don't hate it either. I actually like Romeo Langford. I think Romeo Langford was going to be a steal in this draft. I think in my pre-draft mock, I actually had him going higher as a surprise. Hold on, let me double check myself. I think I had him. I had him actually going to 11. I thought the Timberwolves would. No, I thought Phoenix was selecting with the 11th pick after they traded or the Timberwolves. I thought that Romeo Langford teaming him up with Devin Booker would have been a nice backcourt. But he fell a little bit to Boston. I think it's a good pick. He can be a nice, I think he could be a nice piece to team up with, Terry Rozier, assuming that Kyrie leaves, which I think that's pretty much
Mr.
for
Tatum.
sure. Yeah, so I think Romeo Langford, Terry Rozier, you got Tatum. I like that I like that duo right there. I think that's a pretty good pick.
Well,
Um,
I'll say this real quick.
yeah,
Um, for all the crazy, I'll say media surrounding the Boston Celtics the last few days, or for the last month, really, if you've been paying attention. The last few days, especially, this is a good thing for them. So they've had a
I
lot of scrutiny the last few days, so this is a good pick.
I agree. Definitely, definitely. 15. Now I'm gonna need some help saying this name, but
I'll,
Sikal Dumbuya. Uh, Dumbuya. Buyaka. That's what I call
uh,
him. Sikal Buyaka goes to Detroit. Now, I've actually heard really great things about this kid. Uh, you know, he's getting drafted at 15. Now, 15, if you don't know the history, the 15th pick has produced two of the best players in the league today. Obviously, you can say they're the top two best players in the league today, Kawhi Leonard and Giannis. Maybe this kid is the next one of them. We don't know, but we've heard some good things. Small forward out of France.
I I don't know much about him. He played overseas. Um, he looks the part. I mean, he looks like he's got game from the
They,
highlights they showed. So
they compare him to Pascal Siakam.
well,
That's the comparison that from what I've seen, and then um, I believe Chauncey Billups, who's working the ESPN draft, his comparison was like a Pascal Siakam.
I'm glad you. I thought you were about to say Paul Pierce for a second. I was gonna say we can't really take what Paul
Oh
Pierce.
no, 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 no! I knew that wouldn't be the truth.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see. 16, Orlando goes with Chuma Okiki. I'll be honest, I'm not too familiar with Okiki. I've heard of him, so he's not like he's unknown or anything. But I do know that Orlando definitely needed to get a big man. They already have. There's potential. They're potentially going to lose Vucevic, so they're going to need, that another big man to that team. The team with Aaron Gordon at the three. Uh, I just think he feels the need. He's a big man, 6'8", 230. You got any quick thoughts on that one?
Uh, no, I'm kind of like you. I don't really know a lot about him, so he's one of those that I'll have to watch him play, see if he was worth his selection or not.
Gotcha. I got you. Now we touched on the next one, or at least I did. I'll just go through the next couple, and then if you got any thoughts on those, because we're about, halfway through the draft towards the late part. So I'll just say the next couple of picks, and if you've got anything to say, we'll just group it together. Um, Brooklyn at 17. Now this pick goes to the Pelicans, but they got Nikhil Alexander Walker. At 18, Indiana Pacers, they get Goga, uh, but by Tadzi. I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry, but he's from Serbia. He's a center, 6'11". Uh, Now the Spurs, they get another player from overseas, Lucas Semanik.
It's two
Uh,
Lucas in Texas, two Lucas in Texas.
yeah, two Lucas in Texas. Yeah, and Semanik, I'll be honest, Semanik got some skills, bro. I like that Semanik kid. Let's see, Boston. Now this pick was traded. I want to say, who's this trade? Boston traded that pick. I can't remember now. Hold on. Boston traded this pick to, where was it? I just had it. Oh, they traded this pick to the Sixers. That's right. The Sixers, they selected Matisse Thybulle. Now I like Thybulle. Thybulle's a great defender, really long player. Uh, he's arguably one of the best defenders in this league, along with DeAndre Hunter. He might even be better than DeAndre Hunter in defense. Uh, let's see. At 21, we got Brandon Clark. Uh, Boston also selected Grant Williams at 22. You got any thoughts on any of those players?
Grant Williams is a good player. He's a really, really smart basketball player. Um, Brandon Clark, he was a trade, I believe, a trade pick. But yeah, we'll have to see what Grant Williams does in Boston. He is a smart player. I'm wondering where they'll use him. He was drafted as a power forward. I could see him playing, some of the three as well.
Gotcha. Now let's see. Utah drives Darius Basley. Well, Basley's a player. He didn't play any college. Didn't he actually play anything? He took a year off at high school, and with the training, I think that was a pretty good pick. But let's see what he can do. Let's see. Celtics get Ty Jerome at 24. But they traded that to the Phoenix, so Phoenix gets Ty Jerome, point guard from Virginia. 25, Nasir Little. He dropped after being a potential top 10 pick, lottery pick for sure, but he dropped down to 25 to Portland. Portland needed a 3, and now they have a potential. They already got the great backcourt. Now they got a potential third piece, something that they've been missing, a wing player who has potential to score some buckets. Got any quick thoughts on that one?
Uh, not anything that you didn't already say. So, quick buckets, things like that. Can score in bunches. So
I think that could be potentially the steal of the draft. Uh, Nasir Little, like I said earlier, he has to be a top 10 pick of this draft for sure. He has top 10 talent.
well, why they didn't draft him? Why? Yeah.
Nasir Little didn't get drafted. I think the real reason why he didn't get drafted so high was because he didn't get to play as much in Carolina. So they really didn't get to see him. But I think that's Coach Williams' fault. Roy doesn't really know how to coach as much as people give him. I know he has championships, so I don't want to disrespect him. Let me change what I'm going to say.
It's okay.
He's
a traitor.
Sometimes Roy doesn't know how to use his players. And I know he's won championships, but at the same time, the super high pick players high ranked players, he doesn't use them well. You can go back to who's that guy that left them after 1 year that should have stayed a couple of years ago. Uh, he went to he went to Golden State. He won a couple of championships with Golden State, but he was really not that good. Can't even think of his name. I wish I could think of it. I know my boy Eric can think of. He'll know who I'm talking about. But he should have stayed in college, but he left after 1 year. He wasn't ready. But I forgot his name. I know he won a couple championships with Golden State.
Uh, it's
I
on the
know
tip
you
of
know
my
what I'm talking about.
It's on
I
tip of
know
my
I can't think of it, but anyway, he's irrelevant. He's a Carolina player, so who cares? But that's what Nasir Little had. I think there's potential that Nasir Little could be like him, but I just think Nasir Little has way more talent, and he's just really athletic player. He knows how to score the basket. He has defensive capabilities. He can block shots. He can do a lot of things, and I just think that he's something that I just think he's something that he has highly potential to make that team something better than what they are. He could be the piece that they've been missing. It may take a couple of years, but it doesn't matter. We'll just move on. At 26, Cleveland picks Dylan Windler. I have no thoughts on that. I'm pretty sure you don't either. Let's see. Mfondo Kamagele, that was actually picked by Brooklyn, but actually got traded. I want to say the OKC. Golden State gets Jordan Poole from Michigan. He's also a 3-point shooter. They're looking for him to fill the Klay Thompson role. And then the last two picks of the first round was Keldon Johnson of the Spurs and Kevin Porter Jr. He goes to Memphis.
crazy first round. Crazy first round.
It was. I got to say, I think I said this from the beginning, but I think that everybody picked their needs, and I'm happy for that. This makes the league better as far as making more teams more even with each other. It makes it more competitive. Hopefully, all these picks turn out. Most of these picks turn out to be something. But we'll see. It's a long NBA season. You got any? You have any winners or losers of this draft you want to talk about real quick?
Charlotte is a loser. I think for sure.
Yep.
I want to say the Thunder. I wasn't impressed with their picks. Winners, the Hawks for sure. I think the Hawks are winners. And I like a lot of the Celtics picks. As much as I hate to say that, I think the Celtics made some smart moves. Not necessarily the most talented moves, but they drafted smart, high IQ ball players.
Gotcha. Now, for me, I would say my winner guaranteed is New Orleans. I think that's a lock.
Well, I didn't say that because it's hard. They had the number one pick and took the best player. So I was.
Well, I'm not even saying because of Zion. I think that I'm saying it because there are other two picks. I really love Walker, Nickeil Alexander Walker. I love that pick. I think that's a great pick for them. That's going to give them great depth. And then I don't know, something about Jackson Hayes. I think he's going to turn out to be really good for them. I just love that combination with him and Zion. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a really good combo. You team that up with Lonzo and Brandon Ingram. I really love that team. That has potential to be a 2K team for me. Like, I'm serious. Like that, I really like them. And then another team, you mentioned the Hawks, so I'm not going to mention them. Uh, I think I'm gonna have to say, and I'm kind of shocked by this, but you know what? I'm gonna just say Portland. I I, I think the Sear Little might be the steal of this draft, man. Uh, I thought I just have a feeling that that's gonna be something that that might be the missing piece, and it may be, like I said, it may be a couple years before he gets to that level, but if he does turn out to be something, they got a nice little core with Dame Lillard, CJ, and him, and then you got Nurkic. I mean, they can make a move. They're not winning the championship next year or the year after that, but maybe in 3 years they'll have a superstar. The team with Lillard, you know, it's I think it's hard to say that, but I think I like Nasir Little.
Well,
Um,
I don't hate Nasir Little the pick anyway, but we'll just we'll move on because I don't want to get into it. I disagree. Like what you said about earlier about a player going there, wouldn't make a difference. I don't see any difference between this kid and that player, but it's
I mean, I'll just say it real quick. I'm not gonna go into full detail, but I think Nasir Little has way more potential than Andrew Wiggins. So, way more potential. It's not even close.
Maple Jordan.
Like I said, I would pick Nasir Little over Wiggins any day. But that's another story. Losers for me, like I said, I agree with you. Charlotte, that's definitely a loser. And you know what? Surprisingly, I'm gonna say Miami also. I think Miami's also a loser in this. Miami got Tyler Hero. I don't see nothing special about him. Now they might have made up for drafting Tyler Hero by getting Bobo in the second round. Uh, because Bobo to me had the second highest potential in this draft behind Zion.
You're out of your mind, but that's okay.
I'm not. The man is 7'2", can shoot, dribble, can block shots. The only thing that's wrong with him is that he can get injured. But I said his potential is off the roof. Like it's off the charts. It's not even funny. His potential is up there with Zion. I actually wanted Bobo to get drafted by New Orleans with the 17th pick. I thought having Bobo and Zion could have been a deadly combination. Definitely if they each reach their potential.
Like definitely in like a few years, right? I mean,
I'm not saying next year, but I said if they reach their potential, them together, I think they could lead. They could have led they could dominate the NBA. But we'll see. We're a long way from that. Do you have any last thoughts on the NBA draft?
No. Like I said, I think it was kind of the first four picks, at least in my opinion, were locks, and the first four that I thought got picked. So I'll have to see where they go in round two. I know we're like in the middle, or we're on like the.
We're almost done. They're on pick 52 right now. Which is Utah.
Yeah, we are almost done. I don't see any. I mean, in the late second round, anyway, I don't see any big names that jump out at me that I think are steals or necessarily going to become great players. Superstar.
Yeah, the only player I think is Bobo. Bobo's the only player. But that at least stands out for right now. Hopefully, we do get some players in the second round that turns out to be well. Definitely for my Kings. Sacramento does have 2 picks.
Oh, I thought you were jumping ship to the Pelicans.
No. I mean, that's
that impression,
I mean, if they win the championships, maybe possibly, but I still like like for example, my Kings got a shooting guard, Justin James. I like that. We needed another guard, so that's perfect. But at the end of the day, like I said, I like this draft for a lot of teams. I thought a lot of teams did really well. There was a lot of winners, I feel like, but I only named a couple because they're the ones that stood out the most. But no team in this draft, I feel like, really lost. Even though I picked Charlotte as a loser, I think Charlotte, they have, I think there's a chance that PJ Washington, he has great skills in college. I'm sure that there's a possibility that it can transfer over. So I don't want to completely shit on them. I think that they can redeem themselves. So we'll see how he turns out. Um, but before we, completely wrap this episode up, I just wanted to ask you this quick question. Did you hear about the beef that's going on in the NBA? The number one beef that's happening in the NBA right now?
Let's hear it. Let's.
So apparently, and I didn't know this until today. So apparently, Sacramento, Marvin Bagley of the Sacramento Kings challenged Damian Lillard to a rap battle. And then he proceeded, not only did he challenge him, he proceeded to drop a diss song on Damian Lillard earlier today, right? And the funny shit, Dame Lillard accepted the challenge. And then Dame Lillard dropped his own diss track on Marvin Bagley. And I hate to say this, but it's hilarious.
I have to listen to it. I have to listen to
Dame Lillard murdered him.
it. Did he?
He fucking murdered him. And I hate to say it because that's my boy Marvin. I love Marvin. He's a king. He's a Duke player. He's all this. But he got murdered. Oh, man. You guys need to check that out. Like, it's actually a dope song. That's a pretty good shit. Like, that was a great beef. I liked it. Marvin needs to retire. And Dame Lillard, he's working on his album. I suggest that everyone buys it when it comes out because he's the best rapper in the NBA for sure. It's not even close.
Okay.
It was pretty funny. But this was the NBA draft review from the Daddy Fino Flash podcast. You got any last thoughts, JT?
No. I mean, a lot of exciting picks, but it'll be out there. Listen to us. We'll be on all platforms. So.
We are. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Music, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Digital Podcast. We're on any podcasting playing site, any platform that plays podcasts. We are live on all of them. So check us out. Also, if you have Facebook, search for the Daddy Fino Flash podcast group. Just join it. We're gonna it's a great place for us to talk sports, discuss the topics that we discuss on the podcast. We got plenty of great people like Slim, my boy Eric, who drop, hilarious sports memes and videos and pictures and all that stuff. So shout out to them. We've had some great conversation. It's only been day 2. We already had some funny jokes and I want to say little arguments about football stuff.
And maybe we'll talk about some of those arguments.
We definitely will. When the NFL comes, I'm gonna tell you this, JT. When the NFL comes, I already got a topic that I already argued in the group chat. In the group page that I think I'm gonna cause some controversy.
I'll tell you what, come NFL time, yeah, that's a different beast. I think we're gonna go at it a lot. So
we are because I'm gonna tell you this. I already went at you and your Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
and your quarterback.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess. I guess I'll
I'm
have to check it out.
I'm going in. Like I really am. I'm going in on everyone. I won't allow anyone to disrespect my Jets.
I've
So
done it
I'm going
repeatedly.
in. I'm going in on everybody, and I said it on Twitter, and I'm gonna say it live on this podcast right now. I won't stop until our very first guest is Mark Sanchez.
Ladies and
Mark
gentlemen,
Sanchez
I
will be
tweeted
the
back.
first.
This will not
I saw
happen.
you. I saw it, and I
This
ignored
will
it.
not happen.
You lucky you get blocked. Mark Sanchez will be the first guest of the Daddy Fino Flash podcast. I promise you. I will make it happen. I am working on it right now.
If that happens, if this happens, I'm gonna tell you right now.
You
I'm gonna
bet.
ask him the questions that America has been dying to ask this man.
I swear to, if you disrespect Mark Sanchez or if you embarrass the podcast, I swear this will be called the Daddy Fino podcast. I will kick you out.
Listen,
I,
there's questions that America wants to know. The whole world wants to know that
I
he
wouldn't
has an answer for.
tell me one question. Tell me the one question of
What
those.
was he looking at when he ran into his offensive lineman's backside? It's straight in front of him.
JT.
And then he has the audacity to fumble the football?
Okay, you know
He
what?
learns that stuff in Pop Warner.
We're gonna end this. We're gonna end this podcast. Okay, this might be the last episode of Daddy Fino Flash podcast. Okay, JT, you pissed me off. Don't ever disrespect Mark Sanchez ever again.
I didn't disrespect him. I asked a question.
He was the most accomplished
Ladies and
quarterback.
gentlemen, let's end this. This is the ending of the Daddy Fino Flash podcast.
He was the most
I gotta cut
accomplished.
you off. I gotta cut you off there. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Well, the people want to hear it. The most accomplished quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys in 25 years. Anyway, you can't even argue against it because it's facts.
Let's
We're gonna end it on that.
Keep that same energy.
We'll save it for next time.
All right.
I'm Daddy Fino. He's JT Flash. This was the Daddy Fino Flash podcast, NBA draft review. Check us out, Spotify, Google Music, all that crap. We love you. We out. Peace.